Welcome in everybody to live coverage of India versus Japan here at the University of Waikato Men's Four Nations. Apologies if we lost you there for a few moments, but we're back online now and already the pushback has started. My name is John Whiting. Just briefly introduce my co-comments man for tonight, probably the man with the best head of hair in world hockey, Stu Pitu. Stuart, welcome.
Good afternoon, John, and to all the listeners on Facebook Live.
We're underway already. We, I guess, missed a chance to introduce the team, so obviously we'll get into that just quickly here, but the Indian side ranked number 6 in the world, in pretty good form at the moment, 3rd at the recent FIH World League final. And Japan currently ranked 16th, but always a side which will bring good pace and counter-attacking flair. This should be a good battle, shouldn't it, Stu?
Yeah, it should be a good matchup today. The teams look pretty fresh out there. It's their first game of the series, so they should be keen to put their mark on the series right from the start.
Yes, and a warm welcome to everyone over in India watching through Facebook Live and also Japan. Great to have you with us, and we hope you enjoy the commentary this evening, or evening New Zealand time, but I think mid-morning back home. India a side which has some experienced players, but also quite a few youngsters on this trip. We've got 4 players in tonight's game on debut. Mandeep Singh, the most cap player with 205, and Chinglan Sana captaining the side tonight. For Japan, 2 players on debut, captained by Yamashita, 131 caps to his name, also quite a young side, so both of these teams obviously looking to start their 2018 year out well, and obviously trial a few new players, you know, going into that new sort of phase as we've 2018 and 2 years away from the next Olympic Games. It's kind of this time that you start testing players, isn't it, Stuart?
Yeah, it's always good to have a mix in your team with the more experienced players and those younger guys coming through as well, because you can't always rely on the old heads. At some stage they are going to leave the game, so it's good to have those young guys coming through as well.
And both teams just feeling out early. You get the sense that this will be a high-scoring game or one that'll be quite low?
India already look like they're being pretty aggressive here. They're going forward with the ball a lot and they're setting a high press when they have the chance to. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get any circle penetration from that aggression.
I guess interesting to mention that Indian number 16, Srijesh, is back in goal. He's had a pretty lengthy layoff through injury, so obviously he'll be very excited to be back in the cage, and I'm sure everyone back home and Indian fans here in New Zealand will be pretty excited to see him there. He's pure class. As Japan just spreading the ball across the back, and like you said, there some good pressure coming from India. It's good to see a crowd building here at Mount Maunganui. It's been an iffy sort of day, to be fair. The sun has been hiding for most of the day, but we're hoping that the rain will stay away. It's fairly windy, but nice sort of hockey conditions.
Yeah, sunny Taurunga is a bit of a windy Taurunga today, so hoping the rain will stay away, but it's pretty good conditions for the hockey out there.
And Stuart, obviously a hockey player yourself, having played at a pretty good level, and for Midlands here in New Zealand, you would have played in all sorts, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you can get some pretty diabolical, I would describe it, weather here in Taurunga, so this is pretty good. I would not be complaining with the weather out there at the moment.
That's right. And if you do get a little bit of feedback through the microphones, it is fairly windy here, so we apologise for that. It's Japan just trying to get across the halfway, and they do there. One of the sort of rare occasions that they've been across halfway so far in the first quarter. India doing really well in defence. Just the first look at a ball into a circle from Srijesh, just lets it go into the goal, and India are away again. Rupinder at the back there, number 3 for India, is a pretty decent player. A very good exponent of the drag flick. So be backing himself tonight if they can earn some penalty corners, India. A very dangerous side from in the circle. Stuart, from a hockey player's perspective, how big is this series? The likes of Belgium world number 3, India world number 6, Japan and obviously our Vantage Black Sticks, playing on home soil to start the year. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really awesome to have this calibre of teams here in New Zealand, especially for the extended series. They're playing a number of games here, which locals can get along to and watch. So it's great to have that hockey here. And, of course, New Zealand and India will be building up to the Com Games coming up. So those quite important build up for those two teams especially.
Yeah, and like you say, Japan in an exciting kind of phase of hockey themselves, leading into the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. So they'll be putting a lot of emphasis in their program, and I'm sure we'll have some pretty good resources on hand to be a dangerous side over the next 2 years at least. Often find with teams who are hosting in Olympic Games that it kind of becomes a legacy for them, and you saw that with England or Great Britain come the London Games. And we've just got a penalty corner here, and India will be looking to score early here.
Pretty well worked corner from the Indians there. The long ball seems to be giving Japan a bit of trouble at the moment.
If you were a betting man, and I'm not, would you be saying Rupinder here?
I would be a betting man, and my money would be on Rupinder.
Just a little bit of a conversation with the umpire there. That's Tim Bond. Not quite sure what's happening, but a little bit of a breakdown in play, and Japan, I think, just being told to hurry up a little bit. And we've got a card, so that's one out and one less defender for Japan as they face up to India's first penalty corner of the match. Well, I was wrong.
I believe I owe you some money there, John.
Well, it was Hermanpreet Singh there with the flick, and I think he's earned himself a stroke. So I guess we're both right here, because Rupinder's going to take the stroke. Sure, just talk viewers through what you think happened there. Was that a last man in defence caught him on the body? Or?
Yeah, that's just body from the defender on the line. He's done his job keeping the ball out of the goal, but he's done it illegally with his body, so that umpire's awarded a stroke.
So India with the chance to go up early. Just casually into the side of the goal, and India up 1-0 over Japan midway through the first quarter. The penalty stroke from Rupinder. Stuart, probably, I guess, a good reflection of how the game is going so far. India looking pretty dominant so far.
Yeah, they're definitely the ones making most of the play and garnishing most of the possession so far.
Yeah, and as we watch this match play out, will be exciting for a couple of players, as I said. 4 on debut for India. Number 9, Simranjeet Singh. Number 12, Dilpreet Singh. Number 13, the goalkeeper. If they do split time, he might see some game time tonight. That's Krishnan Pathak. And number 30, Vivek Prasad. Still a teenager. It's a remarkable sort of program India have in terms of bringing young guys onto the scene who are, world class from the get-go, really. And you see guys already who are on debut and playing like they're at an Olympic Games level. And of course, a whole evening of hockey coverage for everyone watching at home with our Vantage Black Sticks up against Belgium later at 7:30. But enjoy this one first of all. It's been an exciting game so far. Here's just a touch on where we are playing this game in Taurunga, or Mount Maunganui, in the North Island of New Zealand. Stuart, you're a good Midlands boy, Central North Island boy. Tell us a little bit about the area and its hockey strengths, because it is one of the strongholds of the country, isn't it?
Yeah, I've played hockey here for a number of years, obviously growing up in Hamilton, just over the Kaimais. Pretty good hockey region in general. We tend to be fairly well set with our defenders, and we make a couple of good midfielders that are showing up for the Black Sticks later on this evening as well.
Yeah, and plenty of Vantage Black Sticks players, like you say, have come through the system, and in Taurunga specifically. One of the famous lads, Andy Hayward, was hoping to be with us tonight, but couldn't make it. One of our best drag flickers that we've ever had. Back to the action on the turf with India again, looking to put some pressure on. We've been using the flanks really well. But Japan are a very quick side. They will stick throughout the match, I'm sure.
If Japan want to get themselves any decent go forward, they're going to have to get their midfielders involved in this game, because at the moment they're hitting the ball around the back and down the flanks, and it's far too easy for India to just sit there and collect those types of passes.
Yeah, and they are a side, I guess, who relies a lot on the counter-attack, and when you come up against a side like India, they potentially won't get too many of those chances, will they? The captain there, Chingnan Sana, just looking to clear the ball out. One player again who's had some huge match experience against his name, and will be looking to hold his side together while here in New Zealand. It's fantastic stick skills from India, always, aren't there? They're one of those teams, and you know you see it with their cricket team as well. Great wristy players with great skills, always can find their way out of danger.
One of the sharpest tools in the kitchen in India hockey player.
So less than 5 minutes left in this opening quarter. It's been an exciting game so far. Just get one of those Taurunga special winds blow through the microphones here. I'm sure you can hear that. Stuart, I can't call myself a great hockey player myself, but how does the weather come into a factor? Sorry, we'll get back to that, but we've got a goal. So India are up 2-0 now. I think that was number 30, Vivek Prasad. He scored on debut.
Little bit of a conversation there as to whether he was inside the circle before he took that shot. I think he did just manage to get the ball across the line, but Japan don't seem too happy about it.
Yeah, we're just having a look at that on a replay. It looked like he might have been just inside. It's fantastic. Got to be one of the best feelings scoring on debut. I can't say I've ever done it myself, Stuart, but what a way to boost his confidence in his international career. It's good clearance there from India. And Stuart, I think before that goal, I was just touching on the weather and how, as a hockey player, how does that factor in? I mean, is there much difference in terms of, you know, playing into a strong wind or, you know, strong rain? How does that change the game?
Yeah, under the current conditions, the wind won't be too much of an issue. Obviously, playing into it makes running a bit tougher, but, you know, there's two halves of hockey and you switch ends, so that won't make a big factor today. It might make it a little bit tougher on the communications, particularly in the defence, but without the rain coming, things should still be fine for good, high-quality hockey.
As we say that, the sun's just snuck out from behind the clouds, so pretty pleasant conditions here. If not, the wind could just dial down a little. So India now up 2-0 over Japan. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and they really are looking dominant so far. Japan will need to be careful. They won't want to give away another goal. Just need to stay in the contest. But India definitely putting in an impressive effort so far. And I suppose that last goal there from Vivek Prasad, a perfect example of where you put a program in place and build some great depth within a squad, and you can afford to lose 4, 5, 6 players and still be a great team. Again, Japan just getting a little frustrated. Indian defence doing a good job of just getting up and challenging for the ball, getting the final tackles in. So just a little gap opened up for Ito there, out on the sideline, but couldn't find his player downfield. Nice little skills from Mandeep Singh there, and he's just doing a great job of keeping the ball away from Japan, really. And some good cut-out balls. India won't be letting up the pressure, will they? Sure, they'll just be wanting to keep the foot on the pedal, wanting more goals for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely enjoying the lion's share of attacking position in particular, and you can see the difference between the two teams. The Indians are a lot more happy to get the ball going forward, in particular down the middle of the field, as they get a good circle inch here down the baseline, shot just flashed wide. Whereas the Japanese seem a little bit timid, putting the ball into the middle of the field. I mean, it is a dangerous place to have it, but if you can have control there in the middle of the field, you can dictate how things go. But the current tactic of trying to attack over the sidelines is just playing straight into India's hands.
Yeah, and just looking at that replay, it was a lot closer than it looked from up here in the commentary spot. It was a fantastic chance for India. Again, doing a great job of just getting the ball into attacking areas and continually putting the pressure on Japan. From a defensive perspective, you know, putting up with that and trying to contain India will be pretty tiring for Japan, won't it? And here we go, India again into the circle, and then looking for a penalty corner, looking for a foot. Let's get a 16. And that is the end of the first quarter. 2-0 to India over Japan. Stuart, you think India will be pretty pleased with, you know, the buffer they've had so far, putting 2 goals in for a pretty dominant opening quarter, really?
Yeah, they'll be happy. They've done well. They've moved the ball around a lot, and they're finding quite a few good long balls. That last one there, a back out across the field, great skill. But if you could find those things opening up, it means you're doing really, really well with your attacking game plan.
Yeah, the team's just huddle up, get some water in as we tick down only 2 minutes before the start of the second quarter here. And yeah, like you said, I think they will be happy with that start, to be up by 2 goals after the first quarter. I can't say too many people would be angry with that, so Japan will just be looking to compose themselves, and they really need to break the ball out and create something on attack, I think. So just to recap that first quarter, the first goal to Rupinder Singh coming from a penalty stroke, and then the second one to the debutant, Vivek Prasad. Fantastic finish from him, which was, as we say, just inside the circle. Very, very close, but you know, hockey is one of those games where, you know, an inch either way can be the difference between a goal or not a goal. Teams just get back out on the turf and get themselves set to start the second quarter. Smiles all around in the Indian camp. Japan looking not quite as happy, but they'll be backing themselves to stick in this one, and they are a team who does defend for the full game. So up by 2 goals, Stuart. Will that change how India approach the game, or do you think they'll just keep on plugging away?
No, I think they'll stick to what they did in the first quarter. They seem to be very effective, and they'll just keep going, trying to get some more goals on the board.
Just a little half chance there for Japan. So I think this might be the first time we've seen Japan in the attacking circle. Would that be right?
Yeah, they haven't been down here too often.
Here we go. Not too far away. I think that was Wakuru looking to find the back of the goal there, but
that's a real good pinch by the Japanese striker in the circle, but a little bit of daylight robbery for you.
Couldn't quite find the back of the net, but that's good to see from Japan. They're starting to build a little bit of momentum, and they'll want to keep that sort of thing going. A team also which traditionally has a pretty decent penalty corner piece, so if they can get the ball on the circle and find a foot or find one of those penalty corners, you'd back them. Again, just trying to find their way out of a little bit of pressure from India, and they do well there. Good clearance there from Matani. Both sides you wouldn't think will tire. They'll keep going for the full game, so expect to keep seeing a lot of good action here as we move along, but Japan just looking to settle. Good tackle there, but just loses the ball. Can't quite get the trap in, and India will go again with Rupinder at the back. Such a solid player.
This is where Japan can be dangerous on the counter-attack. We've got some numbers coming forward here.
Really struggling to break down the Indian defence, which is very, very strong. A little chance here, but good work from the captain, Chingansana. There's the ball away, and then he's away upfield, and Rupinder is a big rig, controlling that back. I guess a little bit of change to hockey over the recent years in terms of, you used to see some of the giant boys sitting at the back and couldn't controlling play, but now, there's real athletes across the whole turf, aren't there? You've got defenders who are big boys but could potentially also play striker.
Yeah, the stick skills in general of all the players has just kept getting better over the years, and it's no longer a job of the defender to sit at the back and just walk the ball down the field. They've got to have some pretty fancy skills in their arsenal as well these days.
Of course, though, often some of those big frames do lend to drag flicking, and Rupinder probably one of the best in the world at that skill. Just like that, India are down the field again and in attack. And to move it back and spread it. That's good. That's vintage Japan. You know, they rush in and they'll break it down. They won't give you a lot of time, and some good movement there. Good pass across the field from Tanaka, and does find his player, but India again just able to get the final touch on and keep Japan out of the circle. Always expected a fast sort of game. It's been sort of end-to-end so far in this quarter. India holding that 2-goal advantage.
Japan sitting very deep defensively as well. They've got all their strikers well behind halfway.
Yeah, again, I guess just looking to kind of, I guess, hold on against some deep pressure, and they'll be hoping they can get a little sneaky tackle in and break away. But hasn't happened thus far. Only a few chances for Japan in the attacking circle. India have really been dominant and showing why they are one of the best in the world. Exciting sort of series in terms of how those world rankings do stack up. Obviously, we spoke about India, ranked 6th in the world, but on the charge up. Also, Belgium also playing the series against New Zealand later tonight, ranked number 3 in the world, but arguably one of the top 2 in the world at the moment, the way they have been playing. But didn't have the greatest World League final campaign, so they'll be looking to make amends here. And the Vantage Black Sticks, a chance for Darren Smith and his boys to test themselves out across the series. 23 players taking part across Taurunga and Hamilton. A very, very important sort of series in the build-up to Commonwealth Games and then World Cup at the end of the year. A little chance there for Japan. Couldn't quite get the purchase on the final touch that they would have liked.
Yeah, one of the Indian defenders has not done their job there. The Japanese striker was completely unmarked.
It's those little chances that they often thrive on, Japan. They put one in the back of the net and it's game on again. Spoke about the series as an important part of the build-up for the year, but also leading into 2019, where potentially this time next year the Hockey Pro League will be underway with a home and away for all the teams involved in that, including the Vantage Black Sticks men and women. So an exciting sort of time, really. That will really revolutionise the game. It's something the sport has never seen, you know, a consistent sort of calendar, knowing that, you know, in 3 years' time we might have Holland here on the 17th of January. Pretty exciting, really, isn't it, from a hockey fan perspective?
Yeah, really exciting prospect, that new Hockey Pro League system that they're going to be starting in 2019. It means that there'll be all the top teams in the world will play some games here in New Zealand, and we'll get to see them, you know, in your backyard, so to speak.
Hopefully during the Kiwi summer, under some sunshine. India just trying to get the ball out here. Japan putting a little bit of press on, but again, those stick skills and structure are always good from Indian backs. Surinder Kumar there, just looking to hit his player, but moves the ball back. It's a great ball from Virendra. Number 26 there for India stretches it right across the field and just couldn't quite find the final mark there. And Japan able to clear away.
Japan really struggling here. They're unable to string too many passes together when they're outletting, and it just kills your momentum straight away. And of course allows India to just sit with the ball when they have it, as they get lots of possession.
Yeah, when you get into a phase like that, it's, you know, for India, they're not expending too much energy as they kind of control and have their way. And I guess for Japan, it'll be, you know, tiring just trying to keep India out of their attacking circle. We're already just approaching half-time with 3 minutes 38 on the clock. Japan will be much happier with this quarter so far. No goals for either side, but they have started to show a little bit more. But India still controlling play. The nice ball there from the number six, Surinder Kumar. Really strong boys at the back there for India. Able to really stretch the Japanese defenders and try and mark their man. It's a good little move there from India, and that's a goal. It's a fantastic finish. I think that's the man himself again, number 30. Is it Vivek Prasad? He's got his second goal in his first match for India. He'll be pretty happy with that, won't he?
Yeah, not a bad scoring average to start your career.
So we look back at that replay, just a loose ball in the circle, and he came through and smashed it into the back of the goal. He was very happy with that. So India now up 3-0 over Japan with 2 minutes 32 left in the second quarter. All going India's way so far in this match. So a dream debut so far from the young man. Stuart, that's stuff hockey players and I guess all international players dream of.
It's always a great feeling scoring goals, no matter when it is. But on your debut, can't be too much of a worse time to do it. I myself was never much of a goal scorer, so I know how far and few between they can be. So getting on the score sheet's always good.
Certainly not letting up any in terms of pressure, India. They're still on the hunt and keeping that pressure on Japan as we tick away towards halftime.
Really aggressive high press here from India. They want to make a quick steal down the attacking end. But Japan are able to break their way out of it.
Yeah, little breakaway, but just no one on the end of it there. So not too much trouble for India.
Not a bad nudge across the front of the goal, hoping to get a striker on the far post. He wasn't quite there, but a decent speculator.
Yeah, they need to just keep trying things like that, don't they? It's quite hard, I suppose, going down by 3 goals to, you know, put the head down and perhaps lose focus a little. So They'll need to work really hard here, and I'm sure they'll have a few words in less than a minute's time during that half-time break. And India just looking to hold firm and carry that buffer into half-time as we tick away. Hooter for half-time, and that'll do it for the first half. We're at the University of Waikato Four Nations opener between India and Japan. India really dominating this one so far. We're up 3-0 over Japan. A first half double from the man on debut, Vivek Prasad. Having a stunning game so far, and Rupinder adding the third from a penalty stroke. So Stuart, just looking at that first half, you'd like to say the Indians will be pretty happy with how they're going in their first game here in New Zealand. Japan, probably some stern words.
Yeah, everything going pretty much to plan for the Indians. They've held possession of the ball at the back. They've got some good attacking go forward with the ball when they have looked to go forward. And to be honest, they're defending pretty comfortably. Japan have not looked very threatening at all.
Fantastic. So that wraps up the first half. We'll take a little break here at Lake Park in Mount Maunganui, and we'll be back in less than 10 minutes for the second half.
Our world is changing faster than ever, creating new challenges, new opportunities.
I see a planet full of amazing systems that are under threat. I see a world where there is clean water for us all.
Where everyone is connected and safe.
Where machines make the impossible possible. Where we can all thrive.
I fight to preserve our lakes as temperatures rise.
My research explores the past to protect our future.
I search the oceans for answers that make a difference.
And I use soil to reverse the effects of climate change.
Our work encourages social and environmental responsibility.
By asking who gets the last drop.
My research shapes law to protect us in the virtual world.
And I develop software so no one can take our identity from us.
My research assists athletes to push the boundaries of human performance.
My stories explore the heart of our experience.
And my work keeps our language alive for future generations.
Through my mahi, people will once more hold their loved ones.
Using methods we never imagined.
The University of Waikato, connecting our brightest minds to the world's toughest problems.
Welcome to a metropolitan city where the standard of living is high and the opportunities are virtually limitless. Welcome to Hamilton, the perfect place to build your future. On the banks of New Zealand's longest river, the mighty Waikato River, Hamilton is nestled in the heart of the North Island. It has an exciting future as one of New Zealand's fastest growing cities. More people are moving here as it's a modern, innovative city with affordable living costs and thriving businesses. There's plenty to do in your spare time. Visit one of the large destination playgrounds. Ride along a river path, watch an international sport event or concert, or shop at one of the great shopping malls or boutiques around the city. There's also a rich art scene, world-famous Hamilton Gardens, and an incredible array of cafes, bars and award-winning restaurants. Education is the key to our future, and with nationally recognised public and private primary, intermediate and high schools dotted throughout the city, a great school is never too far away. Every year, thousands of brilliant students and trade-trained specialists graduate from the University of Waikato, Wintec and Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. With more than 160 different ethnicities, Hamilton is a place of real diversity. Our iwi is Waikato Tainui, who have 64,500 members. And the Waikato Museum displays more than 38,000 taonga, or treasures, of the Tainui people and kingitanga. We're a gateway to the rest of the North Island, with east and west coast beaches, ski fields, nature walks and international tourist attractions only a short drive away. Whether you're a family or an individual, a small business, a large organisation, a music aficionado, a nature lover, a thrill seeker or a sports fan, there's something for you here. Hamilton, it's the perfect place to build your future.
Staying at the top of your game means dealing with pressure. Ask Dan Smith, whose 3 picks at Ellerslie just came in. Join TAB, deposit $10, get a $20 bonus. TAB, now you're in the game.
Coverage of the University of Waikato Four Nations is proudly brought to you by Vantage Windows and Doors, Taurunga City Council, TECT, and Hamilton City Council.
Welcome back to Blake Park in Mount Maunganui. As you see on your screen now, the turf being watered by hand. I guess the water cannons on in this wind is a little bit pointless with the wind blowing so strongly. So the turf being watered by hand, and the crowd enjoying a great game so far with India up 3-0 over Japan. So we just take a little look at the Indian side, which we didn't quite get a chance to do before the match due to some technical issues, unforced of course, as technical issues always are. So we look at that Indian side, captained today by Chinglin Sana, a fantastic player and 4 on debut. One of those, Vivek Prasad, having a monster match so far with 2 goals on debut. In Japan, just weathering the storm, and they'll look to come back strong in the second half, but captained by Yamashita today, and 2 players on debut. Only 4 players with more than 100 tests to their name, so they're a very young side looking to build as we are 2 years away from the home Olympics in Tokyo. Let's make a little special mention of the Indian under-19 cricket team, who's here backing their side today. Played just yesterday, I think, against Papua New Guinea at the ground, which is probably less than 100 metres from this hockey ground, so good to see them here today. The team's just casually coming back out onto the turf for the second half. And a little bit darker here, we're hoping that that rain stays away. India are all ready to go, already in their huddle out on the turf, still waiting for Japan. Just getting their hustle on, coming out of the locker rooms, perhaps just an extended little chat from their coach. Really hoping to change their fortunes in the second half. after that first half double from Vivek Prasad. And then Rupinder adding the third from a penalty stroke. Initial penalty corner from India, just stuck on the final man's body and impeding the goal. Hence the stroke. So Japan just running back onto the field now as we're just getting a few little spits of rain here at Mount Maunganui. They do say New Zealand is a little bit like 4 seasons in one day, and we've seen that a little bit so far. The first half cloudy, windy, sunny. Second half, the rain looks like it's on its way. Joined in commentary by Stuart Pidu. Stuart, second half coming up. Do you expect much different from these sides? Obviously, India will be wanting to put even more goals on the board in their first match here in New Zealand.
Yeah, I expect India to come out and to pretty much repeat the exact same game plan they had for the first half, as it was fairly well effective, but I expect to see something different from Japan. They really need to dig deep into the bag of tricks and find something different, because their performance in the first half was lackluster.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been overly impressed with that, and it was always an uphill battle against a side like India, but they would have wanted to put in a stronger sort of showing in their first half. But second half, as we say, it's a game of two halves, and they'll be wanting to change it around right now. But they do need to score soon to stay in this game.
And it's a much higher energy start from them already straight away. They've gone into a bit more of an aggressive press, trying to force some errors from the Indian defence.
It's lacking a little in the final touches though. It's good skills there from Harmanpreet, able to clear. Sends the ball wide across. Would have noticed a little darker on screen at the moment as a few little spits start to come down, and hope the crowd have brought their raincoats or umbrellas, although umbrellas won't be doing too much in this wind. Teams on the field won't be too worried about the spits of rain though. They're fully focused on doing what they're here to do, and they're just losing the ball there and a little chance for Japan to run away. Do feel like they need to come up with something special to break down this Indian defence though. It's been very strong so far. Spoke about a young Japanese side, but also a fairly young Indian side, and as we said, 4 players on debut, and their most cap player, Mandeep Singh, 205 caps, which I guess in this day and age in international hockey has almost become not too many. You look at the likes of the Belgium side with John Doman on close to 350 caps and only 29 years old, so they do rack them up very quickly these days, Stuart, and it's a lot of hockey for those guys.
200 caps is still a bloody good milestone. It's about 200 more than you and I have, so he's definitely doing well. But they do churn through the games these days.
You're not wrong, and 1 cap would be more than I'll ever get as well. So I must point out it is a fantastic achievement, as all of these guys here put together for their countries. Certainly the Kiwi summer looks to have left us for the day. The rain coming in at us sideways as well.
That's how you get rain in these parts, sideways.
Yeah, forget the umbrellas. Not going to do too much. Good for the local surfing scene though, I'm sure. Mount Maunganui known for its lovely beaches. And left hand or right hand, Stuart?
I struggle with my left and rights at the best of times.
Fair call, me too. And you're just looking to work away and find their way into the circle. They have done there. little half chance there. I think that was Dilpreet Singh, I think, with the reverse shot. So we just look at it again on the replay. A really nice little trap. And I think that was saved. Very good save. India are able to keep out of danger there, but India's definitely still on the hunt for more goals. So here is the rain. As you can see, I'm sure on the camera screens, pretty heavy here at the moment. So a very different second half weather-wise for us. India still charging away. Turf just starting to get a little bit wet in this rain here, and the ball, I guess, will just lose a little bit of the flow, but see a card there, a little bit of ill discipline. It's number 23, Gurinder Singh.
Green card is the hockey equivalent of a slap on the wrist there, so he'll spend 2 minutes thinking about what he's done.
Yeah, 2 minutes, not a long time in a game of hockey, and Japan will need to use that very, very quickly if they're to get anything out of it.
The rain seems to have sparked Japan a bit here, though. They're playing much more aggressively, trying to put some pressure on. And they
yeah, sometimes that can change the game a little bit, and I suppose it will slow it slightly, especially where there's a little bit of water pulled up, but not sure if that'll help or hinder Japan's attempts to try and find a goal. 4-0 already from an Indian perspective, Stuart. Does that become a challenge to kind of stay focused and not switch off when you know you're ahead by such a comfortable sort of margin?
It can be quite difficult. These guys are international players, though, pretty professional, and they'll definitely stick to the task. They've still got a game plan to go out there and execute, and they won't let off until that final whistle.
Yeah, and they certainly want to put as many goals as they can in and help the goal differential as we move on through the series. Obviously, the medal games here on Sunday. 2 more matches to go before that stage. So Dilpreet Singh, the goal scorer in this third quarter, and India up 4-0. So just already almost midway through the third quarter. As Stuart said, the rain has stopped, thankfully, and the crowd just trying to dry out a little bit. We've got a changing goalkeeper here for India. That's the number 13, Krishan Pathak, coming on to give Srijesh a break. A clean sheet in his first game back in goal after injury, so he'll be happy with that, I'm sure, and I can see him grinning ear to ear from here. So Indian fans back home will be very happy to see him back, I'm sure. India again on the attack and just continue to look dangerous, don't they? Japan just probably haven't had too many chances with the ball, but here we go, a little breakaway there. There's a good run by Yoshihara, the sideline, but just can't put the final touches on. Japan throughout the game showing good pace, but they're really just struggling to find it past that final man for India or second or third. Very good organised defence so far from India.
The Indians just look so calm as well, with and without the ball. They don't seem to be panicking at all, being very patient in defence, waiting for the Japanese to make a mistake, and they just clean up.
Ooh. We've got a penalty corner for Japan, as we say, the old commentators jinx. A nice run from Japan. I think that was Wakuri. Made his way into the circle and just, I think he got a little trip from a stick, so penalty corner awarded.
Yeah, good one, mate. I was just congratulating you on how patient your defence has been. Then you go and do that. You're making me look bad here, brother. Come on.
So Japan with, fair to say, their best chance of the game so far. Third quarter penalty corner, and let's see what they can come up with here. I'm picking a little variation. That's what I'm going with. Wrong again.
That evens us up in the penalty corner call.
Yeah, Japan just go for the straight flick there, but well defended, I think, from the first runner. And, able to clear away, but
that one will hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, those ones are never nice. It's, one hockey players are very used to.
Looks like it's hurting today as well.
Yeah, classic hockey player injury, Stuart. I'm sure you've had a few of those in your time. The old ankles or the knees or the nose, perhaps. Always the typical ones that draw the attention of sticks and balls.
It's not always the safest game, but for the most part it's reasonably tame in terms of the injuries.
The ball's not overly forgiving, is it? And I'm not sure if you are one who lines up for penalty corners, but certainly not the most fun job to have in a team, is it?
No, you've definitely got to be one of the tough guys to line up in the defensive corner, particularly on the post. With the international drag flickers these days, they get that ball moving pretty quickly, and I would be much more comfortable at halfway if I had the choice.
Safe bet, safe bet. India away again. It's Ramandeep, I think, away up the field, and he's looking to find his way in. He's got a penalty corner there. I think he was he's called a block there. So
he was on a break on his own, looking for some support. He was surrounded here by Japanese defenders, and one of them just made too much contact, bringing him down.
Yeah, I think that was a fair enough call. He was stumbling a little bit, but it was definitely impeded. So India with another chance to put themselves even further ahead now. What can they come up with? So Ramandeep to inject. Oh. Classic flick there. It was Harmanpreet Singh, I think, was it? Just put the ball straight in, past the goalkeeper, past the defenders, easy as that. India are up 5-0. So look at that replay, that was Harmanpreet, so straight at the goalkeeper's left foot and pad and just deflected into the back of the goal. And India, no need to even celebrate. They're up 5-0 now and very, very happy with themselves, I'm sure.
Yeah, goalkeeper won't be too happy with that one. It was more or less straight at him. He got a piece of it, but not enough to deflect it away from the goal.
India, I guess, now just able to clear away and, I guess, get what they can out of the match in certain situations, but they've given away another penalty corner here. Can Japan come up with anything different? Do you get the feeling that against, you know, defence like India, they'll need to put one of those little special plays in practice? When they pay off, they look great. When they don't, they are forgettable, to be fair. So let's see, will they go again for a straight flick, or will they go with something else? Yeah, they've gone for it. There was a man going towards the far post, but wasn't quite wide enough or close to the goal and just went straight over the baseline.
Yeah, pretty good save. The keeper's gone down low to his left to make that. Very good save. And India now on a bit of a break down the right-hand side.
And so the Indian keeper in action. It's Pathak, who's come in from the second half to sub for Srijesh and already doing good things. Been a good sort of team performance, hasn't it, from India? They've had a double from Vivek Prasad, but really has been good across the park and everyone doing their thing. And Japan again just looking to find their way upfield. Certainly putting on a little bit more in attack this quarter. But not able to find the back of the net as yet.
Yeah, I would say India would like to write down the script of this match and rinse and reuse as often as possible. They've played pretty well, not been challenged a lot, and they've been able to dictate a lot of the attacking play in particular this match.
Can you see them coming up against a vastly different style when they meet the likes of Belgium or New Zealand? Or, like you say, do you think they just keep on doing what they're doing and what's working?
Yeah, I definitely think they'll try to keep doing what they've done today. It's obviously worked very well. There's two very different teams from Japan and Belgium and New Zealand that will each present their own different challenges to come up against. But for them, I think they'd want to keep doing the same as they enter the circle here. Get a shot away, but it flashes just wide.
Yeah, Belgium in particular, I guess, a side who certainly won't give anyone too many chances. You don't get to number 3rd in the world for no reason, and they've shown why over the last couple of years. We're in for some exciting hockey throughout the week here in Taurunga. And as we say that, that's Mandeep with the steal, and he's away, finds a great ball in there, and it's a goal. Dilpreet Singh with another. It's a fantastic finish. I think that's going to look pretty pretty on a replay.
Really good turnover from the striker line there. Pretty soft giveaway, to be fair, but they've taken the ball off the defender and worked it easily into the circle and into the back of the net.
Yeah, fantastic finish. And India now 6-0 up over Japan. Still in the third quarter, it's getting a little ugly, Stuart.
Yeah, they won't be happy with the scoreline, obviously, but I definitely think in the second half, Japan has definitely looked to play more hockey. I was pretty disappointed, to be honest, with them from the first half effort. But in the second half, they've come forward. They have managed to get some attacking play going. And they haven't just let the Indians play the game themselves. They have tried to put something on them.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, and sometimes the old scoreboard in hockey isn't a true reflection of the entire game, and I actually agree with you. I think Japan have actually pushed really well in little patches, but as we hear the hooter there, that's three-quarter time, and it is India 6-0. So certainly the scoreboard not agreeing with what we're saying, Stuart.
The scoreboard has a habit of disagreeing with me. I'm not sure why.
It's a law unto itself, that hockey scoreboard. So we see the teams again just huddle up for final time in this match, the final break, and probably don't even need to say too much in the Indian huddle, just keep going. I suppose an opportunity really for Japan to just play the game, take some learnings, and from this fourth quarter potentially put some scenarios in place that will sort of help them develop throughout the two series, and I guess gain a little confidence and something that they can take away from this match. I can't see them scoring 7 goals in the fourth quarter, but certainly pride is on the line.
Yeah, there's always something to take away from a game of hockey, whether it's a win, a loss, or a draw. You can always take something away and improve. If I was in the Indian huddle, I'd be saying, get the ball to Vivek, mate. He's on debut on a double. Get that man a hat-trick.
Dilpreet is also on a double though, mate. So
it's a fight. It might be double seagull for the last quarter. What do you reckon?
Could call it now. So we just see the teams coming in for their warm-ups for the next match of the day, 7:30 p.m. pushback. The Vantage Black Sticks up against Belgium. It's a pretty exciting battle, not just for the teams on the field, but I guess a battle for the coaches, really. Darren Smith, the current head coach of the Vantage Black Sticks men, up against a man he was assistant to 4 or 5 years ago, Shane McLeod, currently now coaching Belgium and doing a great job there. So the old master versus apprentice type scenario is in play, and obviously both teams will be wanting to put in a great performance there, so that will be live streamed here, and we won't have to put up with me in commentary for that game. We'll have Stuart again up with Bevan Hurry for that one, so the banter will be much better.
I think you're doing all right there, John. I'm going to miss you, I know that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So we just see India now looking to hold the ball along the back. Japan really trying to put some pressure on. They are a quick side, but India not slow themselves. Again, some encouraging signs there for Japan, but can't find the final touch. They will still have the ball, so I'm sure they all know what they need to do and will at least want to put one on the board before the end of this one. India will be trying to keep them out at all cost. Good little crowd starting to build here as we see about 35 minutes out from the start of the New Zealand game, and again not the nicest of conditions with the wind and the rain, but very, very passionate, aren't they, hockey fans? They'll come and watch rain or shine. In India, just really controlling that midfield and running Japan around, really. They'll be tired after this one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but the Indian players from the front to the back are just so composed on the ball. They never look under any duress or any real pressure. They're happy to have defenders in their face and just turn on the ball, find an easy pass, and then keep going.
Yeah, the captain, Chinglan Sana, just has done a good job throughout the game of just marshalling his troops and making sure everyone's well organised. Yeah. It's always the sign of a good captain, isn't it? One who does a hell of a lot of work sort of off the ball and perhaps doesn't always get the glory on TV, but watching the game you can see him in action and it's great to see.
That's twice in a row now. Japan has just flashed the ball across the circle, unable to quite find their target, and that's been the story for a lot of their attacks. They've looked decent when they've got down the attacking end, but they have not been able to get onto the end of much of the ball into the circle.
Yeah, as you've said earlier, you can't fault the effort though. They're not giving up, that's for sure. They're still putting in 110%, running around and putting their body on the line. They don't want to finish this match without a goal. Great overhead there from Harmanpreet, and India already in the circle.
Yeah, great overlapping run by the right half on that play, and as you said, really good delivery, utilising the overhead pass.
It certainly makes a huge difference to a side, doesn't it? If you've got a player or a couple of players in your team who can execute that long overhead ball. You see a lot of teams on the international scene use that to good effect and really can trouble defenders.
Yeah, it's a bit of a must-have these days. If you want to be an international defender, you've got to have a decent high ball on you. And as it's been used more and more often, players have just gotten more and more accurate with it. Whereas in the past, it used to be a bit of a kick for touch type scenario, maybe relieve a bit of pressure. But these days, it's definitely an accurately executed pass.
As we look at the action, you see number 30 there, Vivek, back on the turf.
Get that man the ball.
Oh, I've just cursed him because he's subbing off. So I apologise to everyone watching in India and Vivek.
I'm disappointed.
He has had a stunning game, hasn't he?
He's played pretty well.
8 minutes 30 to go here in this match, and India not letting up.
Vivek would have binned it.
That's Ramandeep. He's a pretty decent player himself, but he just couldn't find the final touch to bury that into the goal. Score remains 6-0 to India.
Well, they've got just under 8 minutes to make something of this match, Japan. And moving forward now. But once again snuffed out by the Indian defence.
Yeah, it looks like we're ready to see 3 players subbed on for India. So we look down at the sideline. So we're looking to close out the final few minutes with pace, I'm sure, and we'll want to get another one on the board. Japan just not able to find a way through the final stick there. And Harmanpreet again with a huge clearance, and it was a touch finder, that one. India got the ball back again. Good counter here from Japan. They need to move quickly though. India really closing down play quickly. It's better from Japan. Great skills and just moving towards the man in the circle, but gets the big boot out from the goalkeeper. It's well cleared from India. So we've seen that a lot, haven't we? The Japanese team able to move it into the side of the field, but just closed out the final touch.
Yeah, they're definitely not short on the circle penetration stat. They've got the ball in there a few times. They just haven't been able to get good quality shots off the end of it.
So 5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, and do stay with us after the match. We'll do our best to get some player interviews, and potentially a cricket legend or two I hear is in the house. The Indian under-19 cricket team has come across to watch their fellow national side, which is fantastic to see. And Indian hockey and cricket fans back home know who the manager of that side is, and we're trying our best to hunt him down for a quick interview after this match. India not allowing Japan a lot of time with the ball, and certainly not letting up. They want to close out in style.
Yeah, still wanted to run a high press there with a few minutes to go and a big lead. Japan have managed to get their way out of it. They're down here again. Can they get something in the circle?
Yeah, always tactical aspects of the game to work on if you're up by a lead by this. India currently up 6-0, but will certainly have, things in place that they want to work on, like defending their lead and things like that, as we just see a little bit of heavy body contact there. Harmanpreet just clears the ball across the field. And haven't seen too much physicality in this game, Stuart, but certainly a lot of speed.
Yeah, it's run pretty smoothly in general as Japan enter on the right-hand baseline. Snuffed out by the keeper. But yeah, the game has been reasonably free-flowing. Not a lot of contact, and we haven't had to mention the umpires once yet, which is great. If they don't get a mention, that means they're doing very, very well.
You wouldn't expect any less from Tim Bond, though, would you?
No, he's pretty top quality when it comes to blowing the whistle.
I'm joined by Zeke Newman, I should mention. I won't hear the end of it if I don't. So Zeke Newman, the other umpire in today's match from Australia. Great work they do, umpires. 2.5 minutes to go here in India. On the run again. They would have just shift it back and control it from the back. or not, as the case may be, and Japan do have the ball from the sideline. Can they come up with anything special? Really, the last sort of roll of the dice here.
That looks much better go forward through the midfield, but again, no one on the end of it.
So we see the technical officials down on the sideline just start looking at the stopwatches and the clocks as we tick away. Very, very close to full time here in the opening match at the University of Waikato Four Nations. It's been despite the imbalance on the scoreline, it's been an entertaining match.
Yeah, India definitely the better of the two sides today, but Japan have done their part in this match, particularly in the second half. They've come out and tried to play a lot more hockey. You've got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I don't think they should be too disheartened by this result. I mean, they've put some good things in place. Haven't been able to score any goals, but certainly they're a team developing, and as we spoke about, a young side. So it's experiences like this which should see them develop a lot over the next couple of years. Ball for Japan, and only 30 seconds on the clock, so they need to move quickly if they're to do anything here. Again, an Indian stick right in there. Some countdown here. So full time here at Blake Park in Mount Maunganui, and it is India taking away the 6-0 win over Japan. A pretty sublime effort from the Indian side, and what a way to start their series. Just quickly on that one, Stuart spoke throughout the game, but India should be reasonably happy with that result and the way that they've started the tournament. Japan can hold their heads high. They've come up against a great team and have done some good things, but plenty to work on for them also.
Yeah, India will obviously be pretty happy with that. Good hit out for them. Obviously everything went according to plan. And Japan have got a lot to work on. I do think they improved over the game, particularly from the first half to the second. They came out with a bit of a different game plan, a little bit more intent to actually go forward with the ball. So they did well. Obviously the scoreline is not great, but there's always stuff to work on.
Yeah, as we see the teams shaking hands and congratulating each other. Always good to see good sportsmanship in the game, and hockey is one that always lends to that. As we just stand by, we will try and get some player interviews for you very shortly, and try and speak to the Indian captain, Chinglan Sana, I think. Here we go, we throw down for an interview with the Indian captain, I think, in a few seconds time.
Hello, hello. Oh, Chingalsana. Okay, what a fantastic match for India. 6-0 over Japan. I really hope I get your name right. Chingalsana, have I said that correct?
Yeah.
Congratulations tonight.
Thank you so much.
Tough match?
No, it is a little bit easy for us. We are preparing very well in the Bangalore. We'll focus on next game.
What about, so what do you do for the next game? What do you do tonight? Do you stretch? Do you eat bananas? Do you have a big sleep? What is your routine?
We'll recover well in this in after the match. Iceberg and then we will be watching the match for Belgium. Let's see tomorrow game.
And anything in the morning, or you just go straight into the game once you've prepared?
We are prepared for the meeting, how we will play for the match.
And what about the conditions here in Mount Maunganui compared to somewhere like India?
Weather is too good in here. Very nice weather in here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on tonight's match. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that is Chingalsana, the captain of India, and I hope we have a special guest, but he hasn't quite turned up yet. So we are preparing for the next match, the Vantage Black Sticks taking on Belgium. This is going to be a big match. It starts at 7:30, and we'll cross to our commentators then. The rain is gone. We're preparing the pitch. We didn't really need to prepare the pitch. We had a bit of a rain before, but we're getting ready for that big next match. That is going to be the Vantage Black Sticks taking on Belgium here in Mount Maunganui. Back soon.
Coverage of the University of Waikato Four Nations is proudly brought to you by Vantage Windows and Doors, Taurunga City Council, TECT, and Hamilton City Council.